Our next speaker is Chhavi Bajaj. And Chhavi's question, interestingly, is just that. How do you become a visible leader? And Chhavi, I'll hand this over to you now.
Thank you, Sharon. And I think, first of all, thank you for this beautiful masterclass. I think deeply grateful because I think just hearing these multiple perspectives, you would not get this even in the best of MBA schools. To start from Esther, from a historical, administrative context, right to Father Joe's, from political, religious perspective to an academic context, to a theoretical context, to a community context. I think I'm glad that you're recording it because I'm sure this is something that you can really position as a masterclass in leadership. But I think as I was listening to all of us, I think I'm trying to unpack and then pack everything together, and I hope you'll allow me that. I think the way I'm looking at it is not the singularity of leadership. I think a lot of times we look at leaders who are leaders by the position they are anointed to, selected or elected to, if you look at the corporate world or the political, world. But I think when I really look at leadership, leadership is not studied in books. Leadership is experienced in action by the impact that you have. When there is no dissonance between the intent and the impact. That to me is true leadership, and that is visible leadership. When what you say is what you do and is what is also experienced by the people you intend to take along. To that, to me, I think just to underscore the point is visible leadership. And moving from singularity to multiplicity, I think leaders, I think there are multiple schools of thought that say leaders are born or trained. I'll not get into that, that trap. But to say leadership is experienced in the personal space first, in the interpersonal space next, and then in the systemic space. So in the personal space, I'll take, just the way we're leading ourselves at home right now can be a true example of how we are grooming the leaders in home, the children around us, the family around us, and as a domino effect, the community around us. So how do I measure empathy is not just in terms of when I stand up in a town hall and address 5,000 people that, 200 of you are going to be laid off, and these are the reasons for that, but to be able to speak to them in a way that I'm understood. So visibility and that experience of visibility is about what we heard about empathy, being able to connect, to be understood, and for people to understand why that action is being taken. And then in the personal space, if I take it to the community space as well, abundant examples of how communal leadership is emerging so beautifully. I think a lot of times we take leadership as a responsibility of one selected or nominated person. But when I see the community around me, and Sumi and I share the same community, amazing conversations happening around, I think, how we are cooking food, community kitchens in action. The kind of, I think, solidarity we are feeling as a community is having a huge ripple effect in how our children, how our community is feeling safer, cared for. So leadership and experience and visibility again. At a very systemic level, I would say, when I look at corporates, because that's the world I come from, when you map both caring and purpose together, that yes, I care for you, but I also have an economic construct to follow. If I can't earn money, I can't pay you. Yeah. So being transparency in sharing that, being vulnerable in sharing that, and then allowing for whether it's job cuts, a very, very insensitive way to do it, but either pay cuts or in terms of redistribution of work, are ways of making that visible leadership impactful. So I'll probably sum up by saying that leadership is role agnostic. Leadership is experience in action. It doesn't matter what role you're occupying. It could be in the personal space, it could be in the community space, it could be in the systemic space. And it is about, I think, no dissonance between intent and impact. That to me is visible leadership. Sharna, I'll wrap up. I know we've overshot time, but I've learned a lot today. And if I don't get a chance to speak again, just wanted to say thank you to everybody. This has truly been a masterclass.
Thank you, Chhavi. I'll take that as a compliment for everybody here. I really appreciate, truly, truly grateful and appreciate the time that everyone has spent